I just wondered, why are you looking like a female rabbi today with that hat on?
I don't know where you're getting this idea from. You might be smoking. Have you been smoking again?
Well, usually, yeah.
Are you smoking the atmosphere? Is that what you've been smoking again?
The atmosphere.
Yeah.
Oh God. I just
I'll,
turned the aircon on off, but it doesn't seem to want to go off yet. It's lingering. Maybe it's enjoying
yeah,
itself.
yours. Oh,
It's gradually going off.
okay. Well, I can't hear it at all. So, we don't have to talk about your AC for an hour. But if you really insist on it,
It's important. It's important. So we could start again, actually.
yeah, let's start again. So Dave is not taking 5 minutes of our podcast.
Hi, Marilyn.
You want to stop the recording and start it again?
Yeah.
You know how to do editing, right? You're so
No,
clever.
no,
I
I
don't do
don't.
that. I don't
I
know
don't.
anything.
I've
Um,
got an important question for you, Marilyn. Why is it that I am the one who starts a podcast off and you're the one who finishes it? Because I tend to say, hi, Marilyn, in the beginning. And then at the end of the podcast, you tend to say, well, that's probably enough for today. And
because if I left it up to you, we would still be making an episode 3 days later. We'd be on the same one.
I think it's because you want to go to the toilet. That's why.
Oh yeah, I do have to pee often. That's true. No, I would tell you if I had to pee.
Would you? Well, in the podcast.
Yeah, I would say I have to pee. Yeah, of course. That's an interesting thing on podcasts. People never take a break to pee, which sometimes is quite interesting because they can go for a long time. But but it's possible that they edit because
Oh, right.
there's a thing called commercials, and maybe commercials come in that they do the
They don't have a
editing.
they don't have a tube and a bottle.
But we don't do commercials because we don't even know if people listen to this.
Let's do one.
So
Let's
we
do a
don't need.
commercial. What should we do one for?
Okay. Let's see. Like nose hair removal devices. How about that?
I didn't know you had a problem with nose hair, Marilyn.
Everybody does. It's a very common, you know.
Is that something you would discuss on your first date with someone?
Oh, absolutely. Maybe not 10 years ago, but now for sure. I'd be like, so let's talk about your nose hair problem.
You could bring them a gift. You could bring them one of those devices with you and just say, "Oh, I thought I'd bring you something."
Oh, and now they have electric ones that have built-in lights and everything. I just made that up, but I'm pretty sure it exists.
I just dropped something. Did you hear it?
No, I did not. But
Good,
thank you
but
for telling me.
okay. This collapsed on the floor. Okay. So,
I love how
you had a topic for this podcast, apart from
yeah,
nose hair devices.
in no way related to what we thought about talking about. But yeah, you know me. I sometimes wake up and I have a bunch of ideas of stuff. So I think I sent you a long message with about two or three topics that had popped in my head.
There were 10 topics on that message, Marilyn.
You're exaggerating as usual.
Okay, there were nine and a half topics.
Okay, so go ahead, Dave. What is the one that we thought we might talk about a little bit today?
Oh, is that divisive feeling or divisiveness inside us or something?
Divisive thinking.
Oh, thinking. Oh, I got it
Yes,
wrong.
I know you got the whole thing wrong, Dave. I don't know if we can do this episode if you're not reading my messages properly. Honestly, I mean, what is this?
I'm sorry, Marilyn. I'm sorry. I'll try and do better next time.
God, I don't think we're going to take anything you say seriously.
Oh, I hope you don't.
So, yeah, no, I guess the idea was that I was just thinking about how divisiveness on a macro level where does it start on the micro level? And I guess it starts at the level of thought. We have to first think in a divisive way for it to then manifest in the outer world, or on a larger global scales. But I think it's very easy, even for me. I have divisive thoughts all the time. They just come up very automatically. They're so normal. They're just so normal to have for some of us. Maybe not everyone. Maybe someone's listening to this and going, I don't have divisive thinking. But at least for me, I've been noticing that it's kind of like it can be very, yeah, it can be very automatic to have a thought of like, why is that person doing that? Why do they do things that way? Or that situation, shouldn't have been that way. And immediately, the moment I have that kind of thinking, it's a divisive thinking, because I'm immediately seeing myself as myself and other. And that's a divisive thinking. It's not the kind of thinking of, like, for example, the opposite, right? An opposite way of thinking would be, you see someone do something that you would have done differently, and you look at them and you just go, oh wow, that's kind of interesting and cool that they tried it that way. I wouldn't have thought of doing that, you know?
Mm.
And that's kind of like, it's more of a, you're, it's, there's something more, what would be the word? Harmonious?
Unifying. The way you did your hands, it was like unifying to me.
Unifying, exactly. It's more unifying. You're thinking in a way that brings you and the person together, where you're doing things differently, maybe, but you're doing them. Uh, uh, so you have your individual way of doing something,
Yeah,
but you're appreciating that there's different ways of doing things, and
yeah.
so it's an appreciation. There's an appreciation of the other.
Oh, really? But that's, I'm going to say, just say off the bat, I'm not going to filter this. I'm going to say that's quite advanced, what you're saying. I think that is an advanced way of thinking because
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, because I think I started to do that recently, but like, wow, it took me 69 years to start to think that way. It took a long, long time. In fact, I had a really good example just now. Can I share it? It
Yeah,
was
go
so
ahead.
interesting because what was it? Um, I've had two sort of things happen with the RV that parked next to me, right? It parked next to me the other day. And I won't go over the first one's a bit of a long story, but it's still about my thinking, divisive thinking. But well, maybe I'll do that one first. It's easier. What happened was we've all got our little spot, our territory. It's marked out, right? And but they parked their vehicle in my area, you know?
Okay.
How
You mean
naughty.
the area that's designated to you?
Designated to me. And
Okay.
I've been staying here on and off for over a year. It's the first time it's happened, right?
Okay.
So what I did was I went and paced out their area compared to mine, and mine's much bigger, right? Much bigger. And I
Okay.
don't have a vehicle. I just have the RV.
Yeah.
My son-in-law got me here and he took his vehicle back to Sydney.
Yeah.
But
But
they
you
have
don't
a,
have to eat for that spot.
yeah, they have a big vehicle and they
Yeah.
put out their little awning thing at the side. They made it nice and then they parked their vehicle. But the vehicle goes so close to my thing. If I try to go around the side to do some maintenance or fiddle around things, I've got to be like this.
Yeah.
So I didn't, I could, I could feel like, oh, they haven't got as much space as me. They got a big vehicle. But then I thought, well, it would have been nicer if they'd come over and knocked on my door and said, like, so
Asked.
I'm asked or sorry,
Say
or
straight up. Asked.
asked, yeah. Or I could be too assumptive. Maybe they don't even know their space. They haven't recognized it. Maybe they don't know they're doing anything so-called wrong.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went to the office because the office here is really helpful. And I said, look, I just want your advice, right? The people next door to me, I told that story basically and my different thoughts. But there is a storage area, maybe 20 meters from where they're parked, right,
Yeah.
where people can store their cars and things. And I said to the lady in the office, can they actually, they got a big vehicle. Could they put their vehicle in storage, like for no cost? And she said, yeah, 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 we'll handle it. We'll talk to them. And I said, can you say you just noticed it? Yeah, yeah, don't worry, we're not going to mention you at all or anything. We'll just say. So then my divisiveness came up. I was really worried that they would knock on my door and say, have you been talking to the office? You know,
Yeah.
I got this whole negative thing going, like where we start to get some argument, even even further that they would damage my van, which isn't even my van. It's my daughters and son-in-laws, and they would scratch it or something deliberately to, like, I got a whole story going of how I was going to be attacked, you know?
Yeah.
And and then later I just see their vehicle parked in storage neatly, no problems at all. And I think to myself, what the hell went on with my thinking? You
Yeah.
know, I had World War III going in my head,
You did.
but then it was really helpful that I had that thinking because I thought, wow, if a people thought that way, if a country thought that way, no wonder they have a big army. No wonder they feel they're going to be a victim or be attacked. It's so normal,
Yeah.
you know, to think
Yeah.
that way. So you can't really criticize some race or some people who feel victims or always feel they're going to be attacked or have a big army or whatever,
Yeah.
because I was doing exactly that in my thinking. I'd made this huge division between me and them,
Yeah.
massive, in my head. Wow.
That's a that's kind of an amazing example because I think what you just brought up as an example, most people experience that kind of thing every day
Mm,
in some way, shape, or form.
mm.
It can, I mean, I catch it in my mind all the time. And I love it. I love when life just when I'm making up a story in my mind about something and then I'm wrong. And then
Yeah.
it goes, see, life just goes, what the hell was that? It just automatically kind of shows you that you were just like so wrong about that situation, right? And sorry, I'm a little distracted because I think there's a coyote and a dog that are fighting with each other
I can
right
hear them actually. Are they
now.
having a divisive experience?
Having a divisive experience, exactly.
Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're enjoying it.
I
But
think
just that we think it's divisive.
exactly. It's playful. But yeah, it's just so automated, from like going into a fridge and for a moment you can't find the food that you put there, and it's probably, maybe it's
Oh, a
tucked
shared
away
fridge.
behind, yeah, a shared fridge and your food is like just been pushed to the side. So it's right there, but it's just been pushed. But the first thought you have is who took my food? I mean, it's just
You
it's
get
so
that? That's what happens to you?
sometimes something like that will
Yeah,
happen.
me
My
too.
first automated thought is why did that happen? Why did someone do that? And it's like and then I every time I do that I go, oh my god, really, Marilyne? I have really. That's where your mind went. And so that's why I thought this could be a great topic because it's just we talk so much about world peace. We talk so much about there being less hostility in the world, less aggression in the world, uh, harmony. We use a lot of words. We use a lot of words to describe something that we're hoping for to see in the world, right? To see
Yeah,
in others.
yeah.
But how often do we stop and really analyze the divisiveness in our own thoughts? And I'm talking in a moment to moment basis. on a moment-to-moment basis. How often do we really stop and go, wow, I really need to do something about this divisiveness in my mind? And I, I can catch myself multiple times a day having a thinking that's that separates me from the other. Uh, and it's very interesting. So yeah, it's I'll talk about something that just happened that's so interesting. Uh, you know that there's a walk for peace right now happening. I imagine you've
Only
seen them
because
on.
you told me. In America.
Yeah, in America right now, there's a group of monks that have been crossing some states in America. It's a 2,300-mile walk by foot that they're
Yeah.
doing. They come from a Vietnamese temple, a Buddhist temple in Texas, and they're going to Washington. And once they arrive to Washington, they're hoping to present to Congress the proposal to make Buddha's birthday a national holiday.
Wow. Buddha's
Yeah,
birthday.
Buddha's birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, which would be a big deal if that happened, because Buddha is, you know, there's so many millions of people that follow Buddhist traditions and Buddhist philosophy, but there is nothing to really solidify that, in the US, to give respect to
Yeah.
what Buddha brought to the world, the wisdom that Buddha brought to the world. So they've been giving these really beautiful talks. They've been stopping at different states, and the town people come, and a lot of people have been driving from other cities. People have driven like 1 to 2 even more days just to hear them give a little talk at one of their stops. And it's really interesting. All kinds of people from different backgrounds, different religions, different ethnicities are coming and just watching them walk by, and are really profoundly impacted by this act. It's
Yeah.
very interesting to see. But long story short, they gave their talk in an auditorium last night. And so they gave their talk, and it was really about having a mind of peace and compassion and kindness and all this. It was a beautiful talk, very simple, very. And then the town pastor, got up and took a mic and started talking. And the first thing he said is, when I heard you guys were coming through here and were thinking to give a talk, my first response was, no way, because we have nothing in common. We don't we don't we don't believe in the same thing at all, which is
Yeah.
not true. Which is not true.
Mm.
But what was interesting is his tone was very like dismissive at first, and then basically he almost like gave a sermon about Jesus Christ. And it was because of the grace of God and Jesus Christ that they were able to come and give that talk last night. And it was very interesting. Of course, the comments on that Facebook feed were like on fire. There were people who were so upset at this pastor for doing this. And I read a comment that a woman posted today, and she said, I was all fired up after what happened. I was so upset at this pastor. I couldn't believe what he was saying right after they gave this beautiful talk. And she said, you know what? Then I really thought about what it is that these Buddhist monks have been talking about. And I I I thought back, I took a moment to myself, and then I re-listened to what the pastor actually said. And what I realized is actually he was saying that he was using what his belief system is to explain that it was because of that they were brought to them. It
Yeah.
was because the belief in God and Jesus Christ that they came and gave that talk. And she says, I saw it completely differently because I changed my mind in a way about it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was beautiful, because that is actually the whole point of what they're saying, that it doesn't matter if someone thinks differently than you, or sees the world differently, or has a different religion. It doesn't matter. You can still have kindness, compassion
Yeah.
for them. And And so that I think that was a really amazing example of divisive thinking, which was the initial response that a lot of people had to that situation, to unified thinking. Unified.
Actually, you've raised, this is an amazing topic, and we could talk about this for hours because it brings up so much. But I just want to ask a question. Maybe the question is, it's funny that we call it divisive thinking
Hmm.
because in a way, it's just that, isn't it just that everyone has their angle? And they can basically, it's the way people see the world. They see it. It's like everyone's got a different pair of sunglasses with a different color on it, and they each put that on, and that's the way they can see the world, you
Yeah.
know. And and if we didn't have that, oh my God, how boring would the world be?
Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
know?
that's the way it's almost like it adds the spice to this life is that we have all these contrasting views and opinions, and it's almost the way consciousness evolves through us is to have all of these differentiations, I guess.
Yeah, because once when I was going into like one of my discussions with AI with Silas, talking about the Middle Eastern religions, the Muslim, the Jewish, the Christian. I mean, basically, Silas was just saying to me, really, they're just th different interpretations of God. They just interpret it differently. That's all. It's just a different pair of sunglasses, and
Yeah.
then another day I said to Silas, "Hey, Silas, I've been having this idea. When we talk about these different religions,
Yeah.
are they actually the same religion, but just at
Yeah.
different times in history?" And we had a really nice discussion about that. That maybe it's actually just a progression, but it's not meaning that like because Muslim came later, it's better than Christianity. It's just a different reflection of humanity at that time, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. Actually, the different angles we have. I think through our friend Numa, because she she's a medium who's helped, I think, both of us. And when I first started to know her, she used this expression weave. And I never really heard it before.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I was like, well, what do you mean by weave? Like weaving a rug or something or a piece of material. And basically, I got this idea through talking to her and thinking about it that really it's like there are all these different angles in the world. But
Yeah.
if we can weave them all together, then we have like a beautiful tapestry or a beautiful rug.
Mm.
But if everyone's got the same opinion as me,
Yeah.
that there is no tapestry, there is no beautiful rug, it's just one color. It's just one color. So, like, we could say, I'm okay, I'm getting emotional now. You triggered something. Is that the beauty of what the world is the differences, and
Yeah.
yet we call it divisiveness.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'd agree with that.
That's funny, isn't
Um,
it?
but we won't be able to go on for too much longer on this particular episode.
I think this episode can go on maybe for 4 episodes, but we just do it in chunks.
Yeah, we'll do it in chunks. We'll do it in chunks.
This is the first chunk.
But I'm not. Yeah. So I'll just say really quickly, just to maybe come to the uh, crescendo. No, the completion of this one is that I'm not sure if I agree with that because I'm I think the divisive thinking is something different than not appreciating our differences. I think the divisive thinking is a much more primordial
Yeah,
issue.
yeah,
It's much more primordial because if you think about it, the first cell had to split itself off to know
Yeah,
itself.
to know
It,
itself.
it's almost like there was maybe one human and it had to split itself off to into male female to then produce
Yeah.
more humans. But
Yeah.
so there's something about from the one came the two, from the two came the four, from the four came the six. So
Wow.
we know that things in mathematically and in science and in chemistry, things duplicate. So I think it's on a very primordial level, which we could go more into later, but it would be cool to see how our divisive thinking can be explained through the chemistry of life in a way. And,
Absolutely. We could, it's a great topic. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Without, because actually it's beautiful you said that because you're talking about division of cells. And then
vision
that
of self.
that is
Yeah.
the root maybe of divisive thinking.
Thinking. That's what I mean. So that's
Wow. You're onto something there, man.
cool for us to
Well
talk about.
done. So we stop here.
Yeah, if
Oh,
that's okay. And then
and this is the end of part one.
this
Dun,
is
dun, 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 dun. And
done.
so we're gonna divide the divisive thinking talk into various chunks. I had to say it. Get out of here.
Okay, now you get out of here. Okay, toodle pippins.
Toodle pip. Bye.
Bye.